Hello. Today we're going to do some crossbody stuff, which means we're going to do something with one side of the body and something different with the other, or possibly just some brain teaser type things. We're just going to do a few, not too many. We'll start with a little bit of a warm-up and then do 2 or 3 little short exercises and then we'll finish. So nothing too drastic. Let's start with finding our seated mountain pose. So both of your sit bones pressing down into the chair. Depending on how tall you are, how long your legs are, will depend on how far or back in the chair you are. Ideally, we want a bit of space between the back of the chair and yourself so that your strength can keep you seated upright. If you're sitting all the way back, well for me I can't reach the floor if I sit all the way back anyway, but if you are seated all the way back then it's really easy to just slump back and collapse into it. And don't get me wrong, some people will need to do that depending on what your strength is like, but even if you are sitting right back, maybe put some books underneath your feet if you need to. Still see if you can work on finding that strength and engagement, even if it's just for a breath or two, and then having a rest. So all the while we're working towards building this core strength by using our belly to help us sit upright. So I'm going to scooch forward a little bit so that my feet can touch the floor. So we want the backs of the thighs on the chair, the thighs parallel with each other, ankles underneath the knees, feet parallel with each other, sitting up nice and tall, belly is strong, feel that breath, cross the chest, take a moment, breathing in and out. Maybe just to start with, we're going to just ease into everything. So let's take one ear towards one shoulder, take the opposite arm out, and as we breathe in, turn the palms face up, and as we breathe out, turn the palms face down. So inhale and exhale, inhale and exhale. Fabulous. Good, let's ease our way back through to centre. Do the same with the other side. Feeling it right the way through, so it's not just the wrist, it's going right the way up, so feeling in the shoulder as well, and all up into the neck. Good. Fabulous. Bring it down. Let's think about your shoulders. Give them a little bit of a roll. Lovely. And then a couple of cats and cows just to ease through the spine. Remember these cats and cows, as we talked about in the last video, they're as big or as small as you feel is appropriate for you. If you feel any pain, you need to stop. So nothing we do should hurt. Maybe a little bit uncomfortable if you're not used to it, and there's a difference between that and being hurt. So just notice if you're unsure, perhaps pause, take a moment to reflect, re-engage, and then try again. If it hurts still, it's that it hurts and you need to stop. If it doesn't, you can keep going. Lovely. Sitting up nice and tall, shoulders relaxed. Let's ease through the hands. So we're just going to turn. You can do this one arm and then the other arm. If it's too much to hold both arms in front, draw great big circles with the hands. Other side. Good. And then a few little flicks. Good, give them a shake. We are going to do something with the legs as well today. So we're going to take one foot out in front and give it a little turn. A few times one way, a few times the other way, and then toe and heel. Feeling that stretch down through the front of the shin and then down into the calf. Really draw the toes back towards you and point them down. Do the same with the other side, give it a little circle, a few times one way, and then a few times the other way. And point and flex, a few times like this. Now remember, if you start to edge forward on your chair, be careful not to come too far forward, because we don't want you slipping off. That would be terrible. Okay, so we are going to start with some heel digs. So not really yoga, this is one from my seated exercise classes, but we're going to do it mindfully. So find that engagement and strength in the belly, find that openness in the chest, shoulders relax. We're going to tap a heel and then bring it back, and then the other one, tap a heel and then bring it back. So it's nice and slow, tap and back, tap and back. And we're going to make this more and more challenging, more and more complicated, 2 or 3 stages, and we might speed it up a little bit eventually as well. So don't worry about it. If it gets too much, you stop, you come back to whatever level you worked well with, you found was working for you. Okay, so by now you should be used to tapping the foot. We're going to add in an opposite hand as if we're giving a high five to somebody. So high five with the opposite hand to the foot you're using. Okay, so brain teaser time. And if you haven't done anything like this for a while, this is going to feel a little bit weird, and you might find a little bit awkward. So just sped it up a little bit. Feel free to keep going at your own speed, but if you're happy to, you can speed it up. Okay, if this is going well, final big challenge now, we're going to add in a single, double. So single, single, and then double, so that's 2. Single, single, and double. So single, single, and double, and single, single, and double. Do you know, it's not the same without you all in hysterical laughter all around me and getting cross with your arms for not doing the right thing. If you're there at home doing it like that, that's great. Keep going. You can always start again if it gets too much. Sometimes it's easier to stop and then start again than to try and come back in. We're going to do one more pair. Single, single, and double. Single, single, and double. Good. Leave it there. Fabulous. Take a moment, sit up nice and tall. You might have slumped a bit, belly strong, shoulders back and down. Do something a little bit different. We're just going to do the seated version of dead bugs. So if you come to my classes where we lie on the floor, we do dead bugs. Similar thing, opposite hand to opposite leg. So this time we're going to do the seated warrior 3 version of dead bugs. So we're going to take one leg all the way out. Now it doesn't matter how high it goes, some people might lift it all the way up. The higher you lift it though, the more chance there is of you collapsing into it and slumping back. I'd rather you keep strong here and have your leg lower than to be lifting your leg up and forcing some issues in your middle. So let's keep this strong in the belly. Lengthen a leg away, only as high as feels appropriate for you, and then bring it back. And you're thinking about this strength in the leg, pushing away through the heel. Okay, bring it back. So again, nothing should hurt. Keep the belly strong, keep that chest lifted. Are we ready with the opposite arm? Here we go. Lengthen, and then bring it back. Lengthen, and then bring it back. Really find that engagement in the legs. Let's do one more pair. Good. Have a moment. You might choose to have a rest. You might choose to come into a child's pose. Now a chair version of child's pose is obviously different from a child's pose on the floor, and it will depend on what feels appropriate for you. Remember, if you've got any blood pressure conditions or any reason, pressure in the eye related conditions where you shouldn't be taking your head lower than your heart, keep your head higher. But if it feels okay for you, you can come into it. So level 1, you just take your hands onto your thighs and just use your arms for a bit of support, and that might be your version of child's pose in a chair. You might feel it appropriate to come a bit deeper, so you can bring your forearms onto your thighs. If you are happy to come all the way down into it, make sure you're really firm on the chair and you've got your bottom quite far back so that you don't slip off. I'd hate for you to be doing a roly-poly off the chair. Belly strong, bring the chest down to the thighs, catch hold of the opposite elbow and then look back to the back of the chair behind you. Okay, when it's time to come out, let's do it gradually. Bring the hands onto the thighs for support and gently, either with a flat back or rolling up depending on what's right for your particular spine. Incidentally, if you or anyone you know is studying a lot, doing a lot of desk work, and you just need a little break but you haven't got time to go for a walk or anything, a couple of breaths in a seated chair pose, child's pose like that, just reinvigorates the brain. Okay. In our last seated video, we did a calming version where we took one thumb to each of the fingers in turn. So this time we're going to do the not calming one, the challenging one. Did we do this last time? I can't remember. So this time we're going to take the thumb to the little finger on this side and the thumb to the first finger on this side. So this one isn't calming, this one's a little bit more challenging. We're going to take the thumb finger by finger across to the other hand. So we're going to go open and close, open and close, open and close. So by now we should have the little finger on this side and the first finger on this side. And we're going to take the thumb all the way back. Open and close, open and close, open and close. And now we're over here. So you can practice this, you can do this of an evening, if you're sitting listening to the radio, watching TV, whatever you do, you can have a little play. Some people do it on the bus, I know, although we're not really going on the bus as much as we used to. And then give these fingers a little bit of wiggle. Imagine that you're playing really bad piano. Of course, if you're good at playing piano, you could imagine you're playing good piano as well. Okay, give them a shake. Super. So this time, I'm sitting up nice and tall. We're going to take the hands all the way out, pushing those palms away, and we're going to take one down, one up, and then we're going to switch, one down, one up, switch, 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 switch. Good, fab, give them a shake. Last one, this one's for the legs. We're going to take one heel away from the floor and the other foot, the toes away from the floor. And then we're going to switch. So the heel on this foot and the toe on this foot. Switch, switch. So it's doing something different with one side of the body than you're doing with the other. You have to be quite mindful of it. Also, keep that strength. Don't know if you noticed I started to slump. Easy to do, got to keep an eye on it. So this one's getting some mobility, some movement through the ankle, through the shin, the calf, the top of the foot, the underside of the foot. They're all getting a little bit of movement, they're all getting a little bit active, but also it's good for the brain. Okay, so there we are, just a few minutes, just to give everything a little bit of a ease through. So if you want to now, you can come and sit quite far back and just take a moment or two here. You can close your eyes, hands wherever's comfortable for you. You can hear my dog snoring in the background. It's not me. Breathing in and out through the nose. Noticing the connection your feet are making with the floor. Notice the connection the backs of the thighs and the buttocks are making with the chair, the parts of your back that are in contact with the back of the chair. Sinking more deeply into its support. Noticing that sense of lightness as you breathe in, that openness across the collarbones. Breathing out, the neck feels longer as the shoulders release away from the ears. And anytime your mind wanders off, we're not going to chastise ourselves. It's not a bad thing, the mind does that. There's always a million thoughts running through. It's what we choose to pay attention to. So all those random thoughts that are there, just imagine them as if they're little clouds in the sky squeezing on past, and we don't have to pay any attention to them. Our focus is with the breath. You can stay here for as long as you like. So you can press pause and restart when you feel ready to come out. If you're ready to come out now, we're going to start with wiggling the fingers and the toes, maybe turning the hands, the feet, maybe one at a time if that feels better for you. You might like to scoot forward a little bit in your chest, sit up nice and tall again, maybe roll the shoulders or go through some cats and cows, whatever feels good. Blink the eyes open, big breath in and release. Thank you very much. See you again soon, hopefully. Actually see you soon. Bye.